Question number 2, David Bennett.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. Can he confirm that KiwiBank will remain 100% government-owned?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, yes. New Zealand Post Chair Sir Michael Cullen today announced a proposal that would see 2 additional taxpayer-owned shareholders, ACC and the New Zealand Super Fund, purchase 20% and 25% of KiwiBank. As these are both government agencies, government ownership remains at 100%.
Supplementary question, David Seymour.
Can the Minister guarantee that the rest of the banking sector will remain 100% privately owned?
The Honourable Bill English, if there's ministerial responsibility.
Yes, as was seen back in the global financial crisis, owning a bank can be a bit tricky. And when they're very large, even the New Zealand government couldn't afford to own the other banks.
Supplementary question, David Bennett.
What are some of the potential benefits of the New Zealand Post proposal?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, it is a proposal at this stage and final negotiations have yet to be completed. The New Zealand Post board, when it approached the government, explained it would give KiwiBank access to extra sources of capital for future growth and broaden deepen the commercial oversight of the bank. The Super Fund and ACC would have an investment in a profitable local company. New Zealand Post would receive a return for the shares and use some of that to repay debt that they built up supporting KiwiBank's expansion, and some may be paid to the government as a special dividend.
Supplementary question, the Honourable David Parker.
Is the government willing to implement mechanisms that would prevent the on-sale of KiwiBank shares by ACC or the Super Fund to non-public shareholders so as to avoid today's step leading to the privatisation of KiwiBank in the future?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, yes, part of the transaction is that there will be a right of first refusal, which means that when ACC or the Super Fund decide to sell their shares, they must first offer them to the government of the day, and I can confirm for the member that the policy of this government would be that if the shares were offered to this government, we would buy them.
Supplementary question, the Honourable David Parker.
Will the government commit to using most of the special dividend that the government will now be able to get out of New Zealand Post to fund the additional capital that KiwiBank needs to expand, or is he running down the government's ownership of KiwiBank to fund tax cuts?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, we can't be running down the government ownership of it because it was 100% owned by the government today and will be still 100% owned by the government after the transaction. With respect to any capital that's actually returned to the Crown, we will apply that to the financing of other capital investments which we regard as a higher priority. The owners of KiwiBank, that is New Zealand Post, New Zealand Super Fund and ACC, will fundamentally make the decisions about whether KiwiBank can grow further and how it will capitalise that growth.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, David Bennett.
If the proposal goes ahead, how will the government ensure KiwiBank remains 100% government-owned?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, as I've answered to the other member's question, the proposal includes a right of first refusal for the government over any future sale of shares.
Supplementary question, James Shaw.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. How can he guarantee that KiwiBank will remain in public ownership when he can't control who future finance ministers will be or whether they'll choose to buy back the shares?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, I'd welcome the capacity to control who future finance ministers will be, but the Greens, however, can't contribute to that because they consistently rule themselves out of getting into government. So that will be a matter for the government of the day. In the end, the guarantee of public ownership of KiwiBank is a matter for the public and the government of the day on any day.
Question